and welcome to What's Your Dream, the podcast where we dive deep into the passions that drive us and the stories that change our futures. I'm your host, Trisha Keatley, and today we have a truly inspiring guest with us, Ben Rao. All right, you ready for the first question?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, what is your biggest dream or aspiration?
Wow, biggest dream or aspiration. I think it's I love building businesses, and so it's really fun to do that, but to try to build them in a way that where they can make money when I'm not involved in it every minute. And so that leads me to the kind of lifestyle, which is really that aspiration of what I want. It's the flexibility to be able to travel and do things and not necessarily be tied down in one place all the time.
Yeah, I would definitely say that's one of the biggest things that all business owners and entrepreneurs should start out thinking about. I wish when I started my business 13 years ago, I would have thought, okay, how do I get out of this, out of the daily tasks as much as I possibly can? And I'd probably be set a little bit more so than I am now, even.
Yeah, I describe it. I do a presentation about building life by design, and so it's how do you start with the what you're saying, the end in mind? How do you start with what do you want? What do you really want? And I would encourage people to. Sometimes I think we all have self-limiting beliefs that we don't probably stretch as hard as we think we can, or there's no way I could do that, or I'm going to get to that later. And I've really tried to shift my mindset to be like, what is it I want to do? And I need to be doing it now because I don't know that something's going to happen to my health. I don't know that something's going to happen to me. Something's going to happen that's, traumatic, that's going to keep me from being able to do things that I want to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, you ready for the next question?
I can't wait. Give it to
What
me.
what makes you feel grateful and full of joy today?
Um, I think, God, I'm going to sound like my parents or something. I think,
We all go through that.
it's okay. I think, my health is one of the things that I'm really grateful for. Mobility, health, being able to do things. I'm really grateful that my two kids got through school, are now young adults and are really good citizens. So I think I think those are like the things that I'm the most grateful for. And sometimes we get busy in our businesses and some of that kind of stuff gets lost and then we get sucked back in, usually through a holiday, something traumatic or a vacation that we take that brings it back and kind of grounds us to be like, yeah, that's right. I'm so busy building a business. I'm building it for what? For my family, so we can do things. And then you get so busy that you're not making enough time. This is a great hack that I love to do at the beginning of the year. I try to book 2 or 3 vacations and pay deposits or buy airline tickets and get it on the calendar. So I make sure that it happens and then I kind of just work everything else around those things versus never quite finding the right week. And then when you're trying to coordinate people for like maybe family reunion and those kinds of things, it's like nobody's schedule over meshes. So schedule out that family reunion 6 months from now, get everybody to give you a deposit and rent that house or book that hotel or whatever it is. It's amazing how when you do that and you're a little bit intentional about doing that stuff, it just happens.
Yeah. Have you heard of Jesse Itzler?
Jesse, if you're listening, I think you're great, but I don't know if I know who Jesse is.
Yeah. So Jesse is Sarah Blakely's husband. She's the one that sold Spanx for however millions or billions of dollars, whatever she sold it for. And that's exactly what he talks about. Set one really, really big vacation and then set 2 other ones throughout the year. I don't know if that's exactly right, like as far as time wise, but that's exactly what he does. Make your intention at the very beginning of the year so that way it doesn't get overlooked and you get too busy for your life.
Yeah, so my goal is to somewhere between 2 and 3 months of the year is my goal as far as the amount of time that I'm spending what I consider travel, vacation, time away from, and it may be a mix of a business slash personal trip for,
Always.
4 or 5 days where there's very minimal business, a couple of meetings, but then also, tagging some things on, you're already going through the effort. So I do try to travel and explore places that I go to for business, which is really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Where is your favorite place to go?
That's not fair because
Extra.
it's just not fair because it's like, oh wow, the beach is really, really cool, right? And it's so relaxing and soothing and calm. And we spent a lot of time in North Carolina at the beach. And but my wife and I also took the entire month of July last year, and we did a 30-day RV trip, and we started at the Great Lakes at Superior and followed the lakes all the way through across the Upper Peninsula and into Ontario and back down into New York and up into the St. Lawrence River where the Thousand Islands are. And that was amazing. And so seeing and exploring new things. So I love that. I love going somewhere where we've gone many, many times because it feels like home and familiarity. And you know where the grocery store is, and you know where the best place is to get coffee and that coconut cake. And I love cake. Uh, so finding all the spots to get the best cake. So if you know about any good cake places, let me know. Hit me up.
That's awesome. All right. Next question is, what are the most significant lessons you've learned throughout your life, and how have they shaped you as a person?
I think the most significant lessons I learned was when I really screwed something up. I I've made lots of mistakes, and I've been able to, get through them. Um, I don't hide them's not the right word, but just overcome them. You learn something, you make a mistake. It's like, oh God. And even after doing business and doing this kind of stuff for almost 20 years, I just recently I made a mistake the first quarter of this year. Um, One of our commercial buildings has multiple tenants in it, and I have somebody that does the bookkeeping, and then I just kind of review the P&L and make sure that stuff's there, and I look at it, and um, I overlooked looking at the balance sheet on my accounts receivable, and somebody had not paid rent for 90 days in one of those spaces. And I was so frustrated with myself. This just happened last week. I'm so frustrated that like, what? Oh my God. And then I'm like, I'm gonna blame the bookkeeper. Why didn't the bookkeeper bring this to my attention? Right. And their job is to get the stuff entered in the right place so then we can run financials and it makes sense. But I took a step back and said, no, this is really my fault, and slapped myself and said, look, reached out to them. They're having a little bit of a tough time. I try to give people some grace with that kind of stuff. And they're going to try to get it tidied up here in the next week, but I can't believe it's so basic, but I think we get so busy doing it. And I'm more of a builder, like build it, get it up, get it running, and then plug somebody in to do the day-to-day maintenance operations, those things. It's just what I enjoy, and that's what I'm good at. So, but making mistakes, little ones like that, and big ones like taking on projects that, I've done a lot of real estate investment for the last almost 20 years, and that most of it's been residential, rental properties, that kind of stuff. And you know, 7 years ago, I bought the old post office
Mhm.
in downtown Lee Summit, and took on a project to say how hard could it be, right? It's just another rehab project. Well, it was a totally different animal. Made lots of mistakes, and rehabs are always over budget a little bit, right? So I was over budget 20%. Well, it was a $1.6 million rehab. So that 20% was a pretty big number, that I had to scramble and figure out how to solve and backfill it. And, now we're been open for 5.5 years at BridgeSpace. And so we were kind of past all that. But then I learned a lot. That's how we write it off, right? We rationalize it. Oh, it was great learning. And I did learn a lot. I'd never done commercial. And the blueprints and all the process is just so much different than doing single family stuff. But that's lots of mistakes there.
You feel like it brought you more into the commercial market though?
You know what? It's interesting because I have a tendency to kind of overdo things. I get excited, and I'm doing it. So I'm like, okay, I can take it on, lots of energy, excited about a project. Well, we were doing Bridge Space I also did a second commercial building at the exact same time and sold our home that we'd lived in for 12 years. And so we were building a loft in that building. So all that's going on at once. And my wife was like, "You're insane." Again,
Ah,
you're insane. I've heard this before, but I did learn a lot. But actually I've not done a whole lot of commercial after those two projects. I'd shifted into every business is kind of built on something else, and I learned something, or I made a connection in one business that then connected me to the next kind of venture. So today I spend more time back into residential real estate investment. Not because I don't like commercial, it's just, I'm very niched, in the senior living industry.
right,
Yeah.
right. Awesome. Yeah, they're not failures if there's learning lessons behind them, right? They're all successes.
Well, I don't mind their failures. I'm okay. I'm okay to fail, fail fast, right? Don't drag a failure out for 2 or 3 years, fail fast. Um, and I think throughout all that, all those different experiences, I become much more in tune with what I'm good at and what I like, and where I need to backfill with resources that really, because there's somebody out there that wants to do the things I hate,
Yeah.
and the things that they hate are the things that I really love, and it doesn't feel like work. And so it's a matter, and I know it's hard to believe for people that are, if you're on the visionary side, you're like, who in the world would want to spend all their time doing, ops and automation and process and systems? And then, which is necessary and critical to build all that stuff to have a scalable business. But and then they're out there, and the people that want to do that are like, I don't want to be out networking, building, taking risks, both financially and with your time. God, time, that's another thing we should talk about too. Time's crazy.
Yeah. There's plenty of time. That's what I tell myself all the time. There's
There's
plenty.
not. There's not though. So there's not there. That's the one thing that we can't get back, right? I could lose everything that I have in my life right now, meaning, investments and money and businesses, and lose it all. And I could build another business over the next 2 years that maybe was 10 times more successful, profitable, those things, and I get it all back. I cannot get back the time that I spent building some business, taking time to do something. Um, so I think we're brainwashed. The 40-hour work week has brainwashed all of us
Mhm.
that we need to go to work from 8 to 5.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I am totally like, I'm gonna get up in the morning and go to the office every day for the most part if I'm not traveling guy.
Yep.
It's like I kind of compartmentalize it. That's my schedule. I'm here. I get here between 7:15 8 o'clock, do my work, go do whatever I need to do. But then it's like when I go to travel, I totally can turn all that off. But the point being is that I don't think we have to work 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
And I think we fill our weeks with a lot of extra stuff that we don't necessarily need. That is, Covey's 4 quadrants: the urgent, important,
Mhm.
not urgent, not important. There's a lot of stuff that urgencies, social media, email, text messaging. I haven't had my notifications on my phone for about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get nothing done between somebody
Absolutely.
commented on a post, somebody texts you a message, it's a spam call, it's a robocall, it's all these things. And I'll look at it on my phone, be like, oh, you got 9 messages you need to respond to.
Yeah.
Um,
I
we
turned
can't get
my
enough of
email
that.
notifications off a long time ago. Email, I do not have on my
You don't
phone.
have an
I would
email?
literally be in my phone all day. So
That's
yes.
a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as me saying I have plenty of time, that is me manifesting the fact that I want basically some things to just work themselves out. So I have more time to do the things I love doing. So I think that I definitely want to live my life to where it's like, I don't want to act like I have plenty of time and be a procrastinator, but I definitely want to manifest the idea of just, I have plenty of time, just feel really calm about time.
Oh yeah, sure,
Versus
sure.
I think versus being this like crazy driven entrepreneur that we all are. It's like most of the people listening to this will be as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I think if you can step back just a half a step from yourself and kind of look about what's going on in your life at any given time, anything that's kind of happening that I tell myself, it's like, hey, okay, hang in there,
Mhm.
just give it a day. And in my world, stuff changes almost every day. It's like whatever, like there's something going on here that is like, okay, this is critical. It's something that has to happen. And sometimes it gets my mind going and I have trouble falling asleep. And other times, and then 2 days later, it's gone, it's out of here. It's not even anything that I'm worried about. And just like, if we can just take a little step back and just view our life and kind of like, hey, what am I working on right now? What's important? Is this a top task? What's going on? Have I planned stuff that's really important to me? Am I getting to the gym? Am I working out? Um, I've got this trusty Peloton that's in my office, and at least 2 or 3 days a week, I'm on that doing a call like this or a Zoom call or something to where I don't have to necessarily be in front of it and I'm getting 45 minutes in on a bike. And so there's always, we always have the time for the things that are important to us.
Yep.
And everybody's like, I don't have time for it. I don't have time for that. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
There's always time. It's just about what we find to be important.
Yep. What I would have laughed if you would have gotten on the podcast on your Peloton.
Ooh, ooh. Gosh,
But that would have been funny.
we could have done it from there. And I need to be on it today too.
Yeah.
Hang
Yeah.
on, let me change.
Awesome. Okay,
No,
so
okay.
the next question is what inspires you and motivates you to keep going even when faced with challenges?
Um, I think it's if you know what you're trying to accomplish and what kind of the goal is, and it's the thing that's the important piece, you just know that you're going to get slowed down on stuff. I mean, it just you just have to keep going. But the one thing I would say is that you just need to make sure that when you keep going, that it's like really, really important. There's lots of businesses that fail and they keep going and they probably should have shut it down some number of months or even years ago. And they're, I'm not being disparaging about people going forward, but it's just making sure that you have a plan, that there's a need for your product and that there's something out there that you're really working towards and and you've proven that versus because you're not going to get this time back. We're back to the time thing, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. You're down $200,000 because you were working on this project and you did it. Okay, is it time to stop? Is it time to pivot? Um, lots of pivoting, because what we think that we know is what everybody wants. Because a lot of times we don't test it, right? We assume, hey, we know people need this, and so we're going to build this before really testing it. And now we've built a product that nobody wants. The term MVP, minimal viable product.
Yep.
You do a lot of systems and technology stuff, right? And I love to roll up my sleeves and get a CRM set up and the automation, and that's all super sexy. And then maybe we end up over developing. So like right now, the business that I focus on and I'm in every day, that business has been alive and thriving and well for 6 months. I'm big into automation and process and marketing and CRMs and those systems, but today I'm trying to keep it very low, not complicated. I have a MailChimp account. It costs me $20 a month.
Yeah.
I'm working off of a spreadsheet today. And I'm using a Trello board to track all of my leads and stage them. And that's really the main component of my technology in the business today.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't want to implement it because I do want to take advantage of processes and having that CRM and being able to text out of it directly, setting up campaigns, being able to stage people within it. I feel like that only being 6 months into the business, I'm still trying to make sure that I understand how the business is going to work and what all the different pieces are that I need before I go put the investment in the infrastructure. And I think a lot of times people do it backwards.
Yeah.
I can't get started without a website. I can't get started without a brochure. I can't get started with email. I can't get started without a CRM. All these other things that have nothing to do with proving that the idea that you want to implement works, that people want to buy it and people want those things. So again, I would that's one of those, everybody, I think, feels like they feel like they need these different items for a crutch or for credibility. And there's some opportunities I think you really can test what you're building in a really simple way. It doesn't have to be perfect. What I say, done is better than perfect, right? And it's taken me a long time to do that. And that's helped me to be able to delegate things that I know that I can do better than other people. But if they can do 70, 80% of what I do, and I don't have to touch it or be involved in it, that's the leverage that I'm looking for when we talk about being able to build businesses that you don't have to be in every single day that are profitable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, what do you hope to leave behind in the world as your legacy? And then, kind of a secondary question to this is like, what do you want people to say about Ben at your funeral?
Gosh, what are they? So I think these kind of both go hand in hand. Um, I think I want people to have respected me, liked me, know that always try to do the best thing, that I was there to help people. I like helping other people and other businesses and doing things. That I was generous and that, I gave time, money, and efforts to help other people do their things. At BridgeSpace, we've got the philanthropic boardroom that we built out, and we donate about $50,000 a year in time, money, in space to nonprofits that they can come use the space for free
Yeah.
or highly discounted. Somebody may use the event space for 4 hours, but they're just paying $100 cleaning fee. And so those are things that I don't even think about. It's like, hey, what's mine is yours. Let's use it. If it helps you, cool. Things will come back around. At the funeral, I hope that people said, we're celebrating life, that I like to live full. I like to have fun. I like to smile. I like to laugh. I'm not too serious. Let's have some food. Let's have some drinks. So
Cake
that's what I want to happen at my funeral.
and lots of cake,
Food and drinks and coconut cake.
coconut cake. All right. What is one action you take every day to get closer to your dreams?
One action. Man, that's a tough one. You're going to get me stumped on the one thing I do every day. Um, I think I try to keep front and center what I want to do outside of work. And I don't think there's a day that goes by that I don't think about, like, what do I want? What do I want? Um, and that's for me, what's important is I like to exercise, I like to travel. I like to be outside. And so planning those things ahead of time, thinking about that. Um, and there's been things that I've said, I can't, I'm not in a position to do that yet, or I can't do that yet. And then I have to kind of check myself to say, why? Why am I not in a position to do that? And that gets into that, like, self believing, you're telling yourself stuff that you can't necessarily do, or it's the timing's not right. If it's really important, make it important.
Yeah.
Make it front and center. All the other stuff you do, put it around there.
Yeah.
If your dream is to build like a gigantic business because you just think that you need a gigantic business, that's the wrong idea. I would say, what is it you want to do? So I want to work remotely for more than half the year.
Yep.
And so,
Or warm.
what kind of a business can I build to be able to do that?
Yeah.
Does that mean I had to be able to, if I'm going to be at the beach and I'm working remotely, what is it that I'm supporting? What am I doing? What's my involvement in the business? Where is the business? Is it virtual? Is it national? Is it, what am I doing? And can I do it via Zoom? Can I do it supporting whatever I need to do there? Do I have the right people in place? I've always been a guy to say, I'd rather make a little less money and have time and
Absolutely.
get that leverage. And so sometimes I have a tendency to hire too soon, only because I'm like just trying to move it forward and not having all the processes in place, not having all the training, assumptions that I think people know all the different pieces and parts. I've had to learn to become a better trainer, coach, systems person, even though that's not my it's not my wheelhouse processes. I don't know if you've ever heard of Colby and the Colby scores, 4 digits. There's 4 different buckets, or EOS traction is a framework that systems. You've got visionary and integrator, and I'm really high on visionary, like a 92, but I'm an 88 on integrator, which is really weird.
Yep.
So I do like building the systems and processes. I just don't want to do them. I know we need to do them. So then I try to get people involved in the business to do those things that with some direction that I don't want to do. You know, at BridgeSpace, Colin's been a great fit. He runs his business like it's his own thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
he is the community manager. He runs BridgeSpace. I don't have to spend a ton of time there except for doing things like mentoring him, giving him ideas, you know, putting out more projects and more things to help drive revenue, get more people in, more visibility. I talked about helping other people and being involved in those things. And, I like to volunteer for organizations that really tie into either something I'm working on with work or something that's really personal to me. And so spending the amount of time that I spend in the senior living industry, it was important for me to try to give back and get visibility to the Alzheimer's Association of Kansas City. So I'm on the board with that organization. And the fit there for me is to kind of use Eastern Jackson County and a lot of the people that I know in the Kansas City market to help be a beacon to get more awareness to the Alzheimer's Association and all the free resources they have for families related to dementia.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. That one aligns with both me personally, but also aligns with my business at Family Shepherd. The other side, which is also the fun piece, is I co-founded the Lee Summit Jazz Orchestra about 5 or 6 years ago, 501(c)(3), and that has just continued to gain more and more momentum. A lot of people know us for the gigantic Christmas concert we do at BridgeSpace, which is a lot of fun. But we do a rooftop concert in downtown Lee Summit. We do some stuff in senior living. We at the 1909 Club, which is the second floor libations at 3rd and Douglas. They're playing once a month there. But this year, on June 22nd, we're doing our first ever Lee Summit Jazz Festival. So this is an all-day festival that starts at noon and it goes all the way to 10 o'clock. And I've always dreamt of having a jazz festival. Now, it's not going to be quite as big as the New Orleans Jazz Festival that goes for 2 weeks and the Rolling Stones and some of those people, but we do have like 8 acts, and these acts are top notch. The band that's headlining is a lot of fun, loud 8-piece brass and like Louisiana, New Orleans style jazz, fun, upbeat. So that's going to be all day, and all the proceeds from that event go to it's a longest day event. And if you don't know what that means, it's the Alzheimer's Association wraps an effort around the longest day, which is June 21st, longest day of the year. And you take a passion or a project that you really enjoy, and it could be a barbecue in your cul-de-sac. It could be something else you organize, a golf tournament, or just whatever. Well, I love jazz, and because we've got the jazz connection there, we're building this as a longest day event. So it's all day, and the proceeds will go to the Alzheimer's Association. They will go to downtown Main Street, which is one of the most successful downtown Main Street organizations in the United States. Amazing, top 10. And then the Lee Summit Jazz Orchestra. So that money will be split there. You buy a wristband, you can come and go all day, listen to live music, food trucks. We've got 15 different art vendors that are being set up there. So a lot of great food, art, music, all day, noon, 10 o'clock, June 22nd. Come out and do it. First time. So hopefully this just turns into, it's going to be at BridgeSpace, outside in the back parking lot. The back dock will be the stage. Great big PA system, all fenced off. So should be a great time. Now I am gonna slip something in here that nobody knows about yet, Trisha. So your cutting edge podcast is gonna hear about something that nobody knows about yet. So everybody knows that I do a Chili Fest every year. This is like the 19th year. It's outside. It's behind BridgeSpace, and 30, 40 cooks cook. You buy a wristband, you get to taste all that. This year, we're totally redoing it, and we're going to include breweries. So it's going to be chili
Nice.
and
Chili
beer.
and beer.
So that event is in September. And so that's going to be chili, beer, come in, you buy that wristband, you get to go and you get a tasting glass and you get the taste at the different breweries. And then you also get the samples from the different people that are competing in the Chili Fest. So really exciting. We have an announcement that's getting announced in sometime in mid to late April. So I don't know when this is going out. So you know what? Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll be late to the party because if this doesn't come out for till end of April or early May, then you're going to be like, we already know about this, Trisha. This is not that cool.
That sounds like bribery to get the podcast out
It
soon.
could be. It could be a reason to get it a little bit earlier.
Right, right. Well, is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners today?
Yeah, I want to share one more thing, and it's taken me a while to do this because I've always enjoyed building businesses and doing things, and in a lot of different industries, but they've kind of all come together. What I would encourage you, if you're building a business, make sure you're building it for something that's going to give you like some feedback that's both like in your heart and soul. Um, Today, I think I'm doing what I feel like is the most meaningful work that I've ever done. Um, I work in the senior living industry, but I specialize in helping families. So when they have a loved one that's moving out of their forever home into independent living or assisted living or skilled nursing or memory care, there's a lot of things that the family hasn't had any conversations, right? They haven't talked about all the different moving parts. What are mom's wishes? What are we going to do with the house? What are we going to do with the stuff and all these things? So what I do is I come in and I actually buy the house in any condition, no financial contingencies. I help them with resources that I know, like trust, that are in Kansas City to help them organize, pack, move. Sometimes there's multiple moves. A lot of times the adult children in their 60s may not want a lot of the stuff, but there's one or two pieces or something there. We recently shipped a chandelier for a family to a loved one because that chandelier in that dining room reminded of the adult child of their childhood and all the meals they had around that table.
Yeah.
Those families might need legal help. They might need help with placement, which is finding the right care community. They may need a caseworker, somebody to help with some social stuff. And so there's a lot of different things. And what I do is just surround the family with all these resources that I know and trust. And so we're taking all that stress off the family. And that makes me feel really good. I'm spending a lot of time with the families, sometimes, 20, 30 hours. So yes, am I buying a property and then I'm going to fix it up and flip it? Yeah, that's how we make money, but we don't charge the family for any of the other services and helping them to do those other things. So it's been, some of the most meaningful work. And people say, "Oh, you're an angel," or you really helped us. Oh my gosh, or they look at me and they're like, "Oh, you're my grandson," and it's like that makes me feel really good. And to build a business that you can make money that helps people and provides a service and gives back is really meaningful. So that I just kind of leave on that note that it's like if you can do that, it's really it doesn't feel like work and it feels really good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Build your business around adding value to others' lives, and it automatically adds value to your soul too. Love it.
Yeah, it does.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And we will watch out for all of these amazing events. And you will find all of these events in the show notes and links to everything that you will need to figure out stuff about BridgeSpace, Jazz Orchestra, all the things.
Thank you, Trisha. Thanks for having me on. Really enjoyed it.
Yep. Thank you.